Joining us now is Democratic Congressman Mike Quigley of Illinois. He is the co-chair of the Congressional Ukraine Caucus and a member of the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, it's good to see you. I thank you for your time. I want to just, first of all, just your reaction to, President Biden talking about this storm that is really going to have an impact on much of the country. It's a dangerous one, Congressman.
It is, and it's hitting right in Chicago very soon. So I think that we need to heed those words. Take care of yourself, take care of your kids, and I guess a friendly reminder to take care of your pets. Don't leave them out very long at all. A public service reminder.
Yeah, and an important one indeed. So Congressman, I want to take you back to Capitol Hill last night. You were in the room for Zelensky's speech. What was it like?
You know as well as anyone, we don't have many moments like that. A real sense of excitement, a feeling of history that's taking place. And I thought it was very appropriate when President Zelenskyy quoted FDR from his Pearl Harbor speech in that same room at almost the exact same location. I think it was fitting because it reminds us that many of the reasons that we're helping Ukraine are many of the reasons that we were involved in helping in the Second World War. We can't have a sovereign democratic country wiped off the face of the earth. There's genocide taking place. I was in Kyiv and near there in July and stood on a mass grave that's taking place in this century. It's extraordinary. And finally, we recognize, and I think many in the room did last night, that other countries like China are looking on Taiwan, for example, seeing how united the West is and how much we stay the course to determine what they might do in a similar vein.
Yeah, and, I think he was so wise in threading the reality of history, and, talking about the Battle of the Bulge and Saratoga and about Christmas for U.S., troops during World War II and Christmas for the people of Ukraine now under this invasion. The president, Congressman, said that the U.S. will stay with Ukraine for as long as it takes. What is the strategic importance of continuing to support Ukraine?
Well, I think the first strategic importance is the message to Ukraine to know that we have their back. But probably as important is letting Putin know that we'll have their back. We saw the leaders of NATO pronounce the same thing. He has to know that he can't have a war of attrition and have us quit on him. I think it's going to impact a great deal of his decision making. So, look, we thought this was going to be a 3-day war, right? And we were going to fund an insurgency. We should be inspired and extremely grateful for a country that's taken on this fight for, as you know, 300 days and have beaten back one of the largest armies, not just in the world, but in the history of the world. So I think that they represent the principles of NATO and the UN Charter. And I think it has a lot to do with who we are as a country, that we want to help them keep up this fight.
And I was wondering, Congressman, Putin has so few allies left. But, for example, we see the leader of the Cuban regime going to Russia and then on to China to celebrate the friendship between those two regimes. And I'm thinking of Iran that continues to supply Russia with these drones that are utilized to destroy the infrastructure and attack civilian populations. Is there, Congressman, anything that those allies of Putin should be worried about or thinking about?
I think that we should start to treat them in a manner we have with enhancing the sanctions that we put on Moscow. Obviously, there are sanctions on Iran now. But, given the protests that are taking place, given their aid here, the fact that we are miles away from trying to get back to a treaty with Iran, I think that if they're going to help Russia, they need to be treated like them. And we need to enhance sanctions to the extent possible.
Congressman Mike Quigley, it's always a pleasure to be with you. I thank you for being with us.
Glad to be here. Let everyone be safe out there.